Okay, so yesterday we had Wednesday afternoon football, you like to call it, and honestly, that's what it was. The Steelers defeated the Ravens 19 to 14. They moved to 11 and 0 as the Ravens moved to 6 and 5. So I'll start with you, Nate. Your reactions to that game.
First of all, I just want to say Roger Goodell really should have canceled this game. This game was just I couldn't watch it. It was so ugly to watch. Man, that protocol we talked about earlier on the channel. I'll find the video and a link in the description down below for you guys to check that out. What I'm about to tell you, we made a protocol where something like this wants to happen. Remember, mind you, the Ravens were without 18 of their players, and a lot of those players were their star players, and Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson. There's so many more. I really think this game should have been canceled. Same thing with the Broncos and the Saints game. I think that should have been canceled too because the Broncos didn't have a damn quarterback for crying out loud. I mean, come on now. And I really think Roger Goodell should have canceled both those games and implemented that playoff, whatever it's called. He had a playoff thing where something like this were to happen. The playoffs get extended from 17 to 18. I really think that's what should have happened. This game was just way too ugly. But that's not what happened. Those games got into the play. But we're not here to talk about the Saints and the Broncos. We're here to talk about the Steelers and the Ravens. RG3 just didn't show up, man. He needed to play his part. And that game was very close too. I thought it was going to be a blowout game, and that's not what happened. RG3 went 7 for 12, 33 yards, an interception. That's can't be doing that, man. You really can't be. And his successor Trace McSortley didn't do that much better. 2 for 6, 77 yards. He had a touchdown. I mean, but it couldn't fill in the wounds to the defeat. And as for the Steelers, they made Big Ben throw 50 yards. Not 50 yards they made him throw 50 times. That's like you and I have said on the show, Mario. There's no reason why your quarterback should be throwing over 50 times in a game. It's unacceptable. You got to get that rushing game in there. And the Steelers didn't. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. This is one of the Steelers' most ugliest wins of the season. They won a game. And you can make a case like, screw it, it's a win. I'll take it. It was ugly. It was an ugly win. And I mean, personally, I don't think this game should have been played like I said before, but they won the game nonetheless. They were able to hold off the Ravens at the final minutes of the game with that touchdown that got them that much closer to a win, which ultimately never happened. And as a result, the Steelers won. I think their defense did their job, came in clutch, and held them off.
Yeah. First of all, I'll go to a few factors of this game. First factor, I said when we were previewing it, it was going to come down to the Ravens corners versus the Steelers wide receivers, right? Mm-hmm. And if you ask me, I compare this to like an arm wrestling match. When you see two guys who are very built, they're arm wrestling, like it doesn't look like nobody's going to lose. You know what I'm saying? It just looks like it's stalemate for like the whole arm wrestle match. It's back and forth, but there's really no winner because it keeps going on forever. That's what that was. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphreys versus Claypool, Smith, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Deontay Jackson. Oh, and I'll add Jimmy Smith in there too. It was basically head-to-head. Each team had a few moments, and that was it. Really, it was just straight line basically right there until Juju Smith-Schuster got that touchdown on the last drive. Because basically, offensively, Ravens were definitely not doing anything, but the Steelers weren't doing nothing really neither. And I'll go back and Marcus Peters, he had 2 passes defended, and he had 6 tackles, and Marlon Humphreys had 2 passes defended as well and 7 tackles. So they had decent games. And I'll go to Chase Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster. So Chase Claypool had 6 receptions, 52 yards. Juju had a touchdown. Didn't have a lot of yards. I think he had like a little bit over 30. And Deontay Jackson, I think, had like 46 yards on 8 receptions. So honestly, it was like dead even right there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like one was owning the other. It was just dead even right there. And when Juju Smith did score his touchdown, it was against Tramon Williams, not any of the star corners. So I'll start with that. I'm going to go to a play that could have shifted all of this, right? Ravens had the ball. It's like a few seconds left in the game, right? Throw the ball. RG3 throws a good ball to the tight end. I forgot who the tight end's name was. But he throws a good ball to the tight end. The tight end catches it, and Minka and as the tight end has it, Minka just hits it out of his hands and it goes down, and that was the end of the half. So if the Ravens tight end held onto the ball in that end zone, we could be talking about the Steelers' first loss, but it didn't happen. And another thing I want to go to is honestly, like I said, one other factor I said was that RG3 had to have a good passing game. And I said, I don't think it was too much to ask for RG3 to throw like 150 yards. Well, clearly I was wrong because he only threw 33 yards. That is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? I understand how good the defense is for the Steelers, but that is just unacceptable for RG3 to only throw 33 yards and have a pick with a fumble. Like that's not what we asked. I said he needed to do probably if he would have just do a half of what Lamar did, the Ravens could have won this game. If that dude in the end zone caught the ball, Ravens could have won that game. Then we go to the running backs. Obviously, they didn't have J.K. Dobbins or Mark Ingram, but they had Justice Hill. And Justice Hill goes for 9 rushes and 33 yards, and Gus Edwards had a touchdown. Again, the running game, even with the running game as poor as it was, if RG3 just had that one touchdown, bro, you know what I'm saying? The one against the one with the tight end. If he just had that touchdown, this could have been a different game. If he threw 100 yards, it could have been a different game. You know what I'm saying? Like there was so much. It was so terrible how the Ravens offense played. It was so terrible that I couldn't believe it, man. I really couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how bad they were playing. And Trace McSorley comes in. Honestly, besides that one dime to Marquise Brown, Trace McSorley didn't play that good either. Marquise Brown had 4 receptions, 85 yards on the TD. That was probably the starting offense right there. Marquise Brown. So I mean, with that being said, dude, it's they need Lamar back, and I think a lot of analysts learned like a big lesson is one of the big lesson that Lamar Jackson, even though he's not the same quarterback as he was last year, he still is important to that team. Because if they would have played, because if Lamar would have played, I'm telling you,
Would have been a different story.
I think this could have been a different story. Not taking nothing away from the Steelers. The Steelers defense is amazing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I can tell you a lot of guys here that had made an impact. Let's start with Joe Hayden. 1 interception from 14 yards. He had a tackle for loss and he had 2 passes defended. He was basically a lockdown corner. There was the one touchdown with Marquise Brown. He kind of like he let like Marquise Brown ran past him and he kind of blitzed Joe Hayden, which left Marquise Brown wide open. It was like a miscommunication. Then you go to Bud Dupree, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. 2 of those tackles for loss. I mean, Bud Dupree, man, like he's been a very good player for the Steelers defense, a very underrated player for the Steelers defense. T.J. Watt, 6 tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 of those tackles were tackles for loss. T.J. Watt might be the best player on this defense, man. You know what I'm saying? I think T.J. Watt really completes this defense. Cam Hayward had a sack. Steven Nelson had a tackle for loss. Robert Spillane had 6 tackles. So I mean, honestly, this defense is really, really good. And I'm not going to take nothing away from the Ravens defense. You know, they had a good defense too. Okay, because they did hold them to 19 points, which I think is pretty good. Tyus Bauer had an interception. That was the interception in the end zone against Ben Roethlisberger when he went for it. Marcus Peters, obviously I explained Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphreys, they had 2 passes defended. Marcus Peters had 6 tackles. Marlon Humphreys had 7. Chuck Clark, honestly, might have been the defensive MVP for this team. He had 13 tackles with a tackle for loss. Deshaun Elliott had 7 tackles. Patrick Queen, the rookie, had 8. And LJ4 had 6. So, I mean, both defenses played really good. It was a matter of which offense was going to play better. And both offenses did not play that good. But Steelers' offense was better than Ravens' offense because RG3 just couldn't get any fire going. Trace McSorley came in a little too late, and he really didn't do a lot when he came in except for that one bomb to Marquise Brown. Credit to him. And the Steelers' offense was just a little bit better, and that's what got them the win. Honestly, for the Ravens, it's probably going to feel really good to have Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins back. And hey, they got the Cowboys next, so that's something to look forward to. You're facing the Cowboys next,
right?
So, credit to them. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Steelers might have the Colts next.
That is something I do not know.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it right
now. That.
Yeah, I believe they had the Colts next. Oh no, Colts had the Texans. The Steelers have the Washington football team. Hey, look, I mean, Ravens can keep themselves in the playoff contention if they beat the Cowboys, which they should. Um, Steelers can keep themselves undefeated if they beat Washington, which they should. And honestly, I think the Steelers they didn't play as good as I expected them to, especially the wide receivers. I expected more from them. But correct, congrats on the Steelers for staying undefeated. They got to pick it up this next week, even though it's against the football team. They still got to pick it up. As for the Ravens, you can bounce back with a win against the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to touch up on speaking with the Cowboys and the Ravens game because the Steelers and the Ravens played last night, yesterday afternoon. Today's game between the Cowboys and the Ravens has been moved to Tuesday, so there will be no Thursday night football tonight. Just to clarify that. But either way, congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the win. As for the Ravens, you got to bounce back, win the next game.